All right, a happy Saturday night, and especially for you Philadelphia 76ers fans, congratulations to advance to the second round to play New York. You have beaten Boston. You have, I guess, somewhat exercised the demons for this year, and the Celtics, for the first time in franchise history, which is a remarkable feat, have lost a 3-1 series when they were up 3-1 and lost the series. I think we're going to talk about Boston here in a minute. I think it's a good lesson that when you are up 3-1, you better close it out because you never know what's going to happen with injuries. And I think you certainly saw with the Tatum injury, which looks like it happened in Game 6, and he doesn't play. But certainly, Boston had ample opportunities when they came to cut it to one and not bricked, well, missed three straight threes, which was kind of their calling card. And give Philadelphia credit certainly for pulling it out. But we are here to talk about the Celtics offseason, which begins earlier than probably a lot of people would have thought, especially when they were the two seed. It's a kind of a roller coaster where they were in the middle, where they finished, considering everything that happened almost a year ago. But Boston finishes 56 and 26. That is roughly 16 more games than what DraftKings had projected for Philadelphia for Boston going into the season. That would have put them eighth in the Eastern Conference. So I guess on paper you can say they certainly overachieved. But as I said, anytime you're up 3-1 and you lose three out of the four games at home, major disappointment if you're the Celtics. You have two picks, 27 and 40. Your free agents are Nikola Vucevic, name is Queta. He's got a team option. Amari Williams has got a team option. There's a list of guys with team options. Jordan Walsh has a team option. Ron Harper's got a team option. Max Shula has a team option. John Tonji is restricted, and Delano Banton has a team option. It's basically a lot of these players are the players that Boston signed towards the end of the year. We're going to talk about Queta because he's got a pretty unique situation here. So where do we go here? So state of the roster. We know that their payroll was going to be $540 million. We know that Tatum was going to be out most of the year, and they basically saved $350 million. Gone were Porzingis, Horford, Cornette, Holiday. I think you would have probably liked Drew Holiday in a game like this, but that is for another day. Congratulations on your savings if you're Celtics. Um, and as we said, many call this a gap year. So when you call it a gap year and you win 56 games, you certainly overachieved. But as we talked about it, you lose in the playoffs in 7 games here, which the Celtics did. So where did the Boston Celtics go? You are evaluating this roster that fell short. You've got 14 players under contract for next season, including Tatum, Brown, Pritchard, and White. Vucevic is your only unrestricted free agent without a option, who basically we did not see uh, sparingly, I guess, in towards the tail end of these playoffs here. You'll add a pick in the late 20s, which is the 27th pick. However, the good news, if you're Boston, you will probably not see the slashing of payroll that you did a year ago. You are in pretty decent shape, and we're going to let's pull up this Celtics depth chart for you. Hold on, let's share this. Here we go. And we're going to share. So here's your depth chart. So basically it's the same group that you've rolled out for most of the year. You've had Tatum back, who sits out with game 7. Kate got a team option, and as you can see, you've got a lot of players with team options. We're going to talk about them in a minute here. You're at $188 million. You're about $13 million below the luxury tax. You have 27 and 40. My phone is um, and you have some exceptions here as far as based on what's going to happen with some of your own free agents. You got the trade exceptions that are over here. if you use them, you get hard capped at the first apron here. So although you have a big one, you use it, you get hard capped. Certainly, if you use more than $6 million of this exception, you get hard capped at the first apron. So you're going to have to be careful. I think there is a me, just respond. I posted a picture of this. I've written all teams who are in the. I know we're jumping around. All the six teams that are in these game sevens, I've already written already. So they've. We're probably going to have rewrites on these teams that have won. So here is kind of your depth chart as far as where you are, what your non-tax. You've got these exceptions, but as I said, using any of these hard caps you here, I would say he is probably uh, Vooch is probably your odd man out. We're going to talk about Kada in a minute here. Here's where you are financially. We're going to stop thought, and now we're going to share this. And here we go. So here you are financially. You've got your two monsters, which is Tatum and Brown. Those are the super maxes. So you're at about 116 million, and then you've got Derek White at that number. White I thought played really well in Game 7. He did not play well offensively in shooting the ball at least the first six games here. I had him in my originally in the offseason article, just kind of a note at the end, but man, he defends the crap out of you. And if you're looking to move off a guy, for me, it's not going to be Derek White. So here's your other players. You have Hauser, Pritchard, one of the best. This is this thing. This is the best contract in the NBA. And then your young players, Banton, Kada, Harper, all of your team options. So here's where you are. Um, here's where you are. Oh, you're at 201. Sorry, guys. So you're about $13 million under. Okay. And here is apron levels right here, about 21 million. And then the second apron is 30, roughly 34. So here's what's going to happen with Kada. Okay. You've got two choices with him. You can exercise and pick up his team option, which is at $2.7 million, and then extend off that. So you can extend for 92-ish, and that extension would kick in 27, 28, right where I have this where the 2588. Okay, you can do that. And then basically that gives you the flexibility to basically have $13 million below the tax. You can maybe do some other things. You're well below the first apron, $21 million. And that includes your draft pick. So that is one of the things you can do. Now, the only way that you are exercising the option is that you've already got a deal in place to extend him. Okay. Which you can certainly begin negotiating after the NBA finals are over. Now, you can decline the option and reward him with a new contract. The only way you're declining the option is if you have a handshake agreement. However, his number is at least 10 million, I would think, 10, 11, maybe even a little bit more. Then that loses the flexibility um, that you would have had there. So those are kind of your decisions when we're talking about Kada, which is going to be pretty interesting. If I were the Celtics, I would exercise the option, pick it up, and then before I did that, I would have worked out an extension already with him here. So that is kind of um, the big priority for me when you look at it. Vooch, I would have to say he's probably the odd man out. I mean, came off the bench for only the second time since 16-17, fewest minutes, points. As I said, if Kada gets a new contract, depends on what flexibility you have. Even if they exercise it and then extend and start in 27, 28, I still would rather have the flexibility. You've got Garza, who you can back up. Maybe you get a center in the draft. Um, we took out the white section. Your extension candidate to watch is Peyton Pritchard. He's extension eligible as of October 1st. He's got 2 years left on his deal. He can extend for 3 years for 67.1. Vooch, Jordan Walsh, and Jaylen Brown are also extension eligible. Jaylen Brown can extend for two for 142 as of July 26. Your team needs front court and playmaking depth, plus shooting developed from your former picks, Gonzalez, Shireman, and Walsh. And then your future draft assets. You have six first round picks in the next 7 years, three that can be traded. You also have, you can trade 27, 31, and 33 in the future. You also have four second rounders. Your 2032nd is frozen because you finished over the apron last year. We'll go into more of the apron down the road as far as how that pick can get frozen. In 28, San Antonio can swap. It's top one protected. In 29, you owe first to Portland or Washington. That is from I believe that is from the Drew Holiday trade. So that is, in a nutshell, where you are for the Boston Celtics as far as it's an array of emotions just because um, nothing was expected of this team. They overachieved. Tatum comes back. You win 56 game. You're the two seed. You're up 3-1, and then all of a sudden, all of that just goes poof, and that is the end of your season. We will talk soon when we have another video to do on two more videos to do on Sunday.